Hey everyone, Matt from Singletracks here, and today we're taking a look at the all-new 2021 Rocky Mountain Instinct. So it's all new for this year, and they kind of did the same thing that they did with the Altitude. With the Altitude they revised last year, they got rid of the Instinct BC edition and made the Altitude their go-to enduro bike. Rocky's basically done the same thing with this new Instinct. They got rid of the Thunderbolt, RIP, and now have this new Instinct, and it comes in two different wheel sizes. Although they're size specific, so on sizes extra small and small, the Instinct gets 27.5-inch wheels. On sizes small through extra large, the Instinct gets 29-inch wheels. The Instinct now or still has 140 millimeters of rear travel, but it gets a 150 millimeter fork. Rocky says that for the kinematics, they've gone with a supple starting stroke, a supportive mid-stroke, and a progressive end stroke. It is coil compatible, and they have their own C50 coil build that comes with a Cane Creek DB inline coil rear shock and a Helm coil fork. Because of the split wheel sizes amongst the Instinct, sizes XS and small have a slightly different set of geometry numbers than the 29ers. We'll briefly go over some of the numbers on my size medium 29er for the sake of commonality. If you want the full set of geometry numbers, take a look at our written article or just go to bikes.com, the Rocky Mountain website, and check out the full geo chart there. In the neutral setting on the size medium 29er, the head tube angle is 65.7 degrees and the seat tube angle is 76.7 degrees. The seat tube length is a nice and stubby 420 millimeters. The rear center gets an adjustable dropout like the Altitude did. This puts the chainstay length at either 437 or 448 millimeters. Reach on the medium grew by a lot. It's now at 462 millimeters. Standover height is 801 millimeters and the wheelbase is 1209. As I mentioned previously, there is now a 10mm chainstay adjustment. In the long position, it's compatible with a SRAM UDH, Universal Derailleur Hanger. The Instinct has some armor on the bottom of the down tube, a Canadian Shield yoke protector, and chain silencing stay protection. The upper shock mount is removable, which Rocky Mountain says they'll be able to provide future kinematics updates. Pricing has gone up quite a bit on the Instinct. If you're wanting a complete, the Alloy 30 build is your most affordable option at just over $3,000. The carbon frame set runs almost $3,600, and a carbon 30 build costs $4,500. The builds top out at the carbon 99 for $10,500. I tested the C50, the mid-shelf carbon build. Okay, let's talk about how the Instinct handled the trail as Rocky Mountain's all-new trail bike. For a 140mm trail bike, the Instinct definitely feels overbuilt, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's not that the bike is heavy, mine came in just under 31 pounds, but it feels like an aggressive trail bike, a somewhat heavy-duty trail bike, and it's not something I hesitate to throw down an enduro track either. Rocky Mountain obviously has a reputation for the gravity-oriented side of mountain biking, whether it's enduro or freeride, and I think that BC reputation holds true on the new Instinct. It's a trail bike that is definitely designed towards going downhill. Rocky Mountain tends to be fairly conservative when it comes to geometry changes from generation to generation. The steeper seat tube angle and the longer wheelbase definitely make me happy, though it can feel a little bit long through tighter switchbacks. With how active the suspension kinematics feel early on in the stroke, though, that steeper seat tube angle is a big plus. The suspension on the Instinct feels very active up through about the first 40%, so being in a more upright position makes a huge difference on the climbs, especially with this bike. On very steep climbs, I often use the Fox's climb switch or put it in the middle position, trail mode, as the bike tends to feel a little bit more sluggish going up really steep grades. On more moderate grade trails, the bike does a fine job and is a little bit more exciting, but it's still far from the most exciting trail bike to climb on. With that in mind, and the suspension's eagerness to tackle really ledgy and really loose climbs, the Instinct has basically everything you need to tackle an all-day backcountry type of mission without really wishing that you'd gone with something lighter. But descending is what the Instinct was built for anyway. I was a little surprised that Rocky Mountain used the inline Fox DPS shock on some of the lower spec builds, because the Instinct does feel so much more capable than that. But that said, I haven't had any issues with the Fox DPS. The leverage rate is so active feeling early on that you still get a ton of great traction over really small and loose, chunky parts of the trail. With a more conservative head tube angle on the Instinct, bikes like this always make me rethink what kind of numbers a modern mountain bike actually needs. At close to 66 degrees, this is definitely far off from a lot more progressive trail bikes that we're seeing lately, but paired with a long wheelbase and its deep feeling travel, I never felt like I needed more. What I like more about the Instinct is that it was always happy to play. Not only is it maneuverable and agile through twisty and tight turns, but it's also fun sending off anything from water bars to doubles. Where I think the Instinct is challenged is in terms of price. My C50 mid-level build, which sells for $5,500, is not exactly what I'd call a value build. You do get a solid build and components that will hold up exactly with the bike's intentions, but it's not the most competitive option if you're looking at other trail bikes in the same travel category. The price on a carbon frame set alone has jumped by about $650. So to recap, the all-new Instinct is a powerful trail bike really geared toward descending. This is a light enduro bike rather than a heavy stage racing bike, and even with a lighter air shock, the suspension characteristics are impressive. There are better trail bikes out there if climbing fast is important to you, but the Instinct will climb just about everything you need to and keep you comfortable enough for a long day in the saddle. It's not the most competitive bike when it comes to price, but the Instinct will make a lot of people happy, and those are the types of people who want enduro capability but don't want to pedal around a 160mm chopper bike. If you want more details, check out our written review, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you like the vid and want to see more, and check out singletracks.com for more mountain bike news.